Welcome to Cannon Fodder, a behind-the-scenes look at the Glass Cannon Network.
Yo! What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Cannon Fodder. It is Wednesday, July 17th, 2024, and we're back! I'm your old buddy, Joe O'Brien.
And I'm Troy, celebrating Christmas in July, Lavallee.
What is that?
This is my Hallmark Christmas movies watching candle. My mother-in-law gave it to me, and it's a year-round candle for me, but
that's amazing. Does it smell like a Christmas tree? Is that the smell, or is it like nutmeg and cinnamon and shit like that?
There's some spruce in there. It definitely smells like a Christmas day. Christmas day. It smells like Christmas day. It smells like a Christmas tree, but also, yeah, there's some cinnamon, little allspice in there. It's great.
So it's everything. It's everything that's in a house at Christmas time.
In one candle. I've already gone through like 3 of these. So good. Oh my God, that gets me high as a kite.
What's up, everybody? It is not Christmas vacation, but it was summer vacation. We just got back from a little break. Had a little break ski from the FOD, which was nice. Where did you go? You went somewhere, right?
I did. I went to visit my folks in Haverhill, Massachusetts. I hadn't been to Haverhill in 2 years. I've just been like, after 3 kids, I'm like, you come visit us. And so for the past couple of years, they've just been coming here. And I'm like, we gotta stop by because we were on our way to a 4th of July week in Portland, Maine, which is just fucking bomb. So great. So we did that. And then, I don't know, then it was back to work.
It's a good place to go in the summer. You just drive north.
Oh, yeah.
Like it just gets cooler and the weather is better. That's the way to go.
Yeah, we have beautiful weather. I mean, it's just like a lot of hustle and bustle in Portland. Everything's kind of walkable, even with an army of children. And, just fucking lobster rolls, good beer. I mean, I had like 19 lobster rolls.
Yeah, I love lobster rolls.
You can't throw a stone without finding a brewery that is like almost treehouse level. A lot of the breweries out there are fantastic. Our hotel was actually connected to the Shipyard Brewery. So by the end, I was like Norm from Cheers walking in there, like, try! But it was a great time. It's just, you walk outside, now that I wake up so early, I'm out and getting coffee and at like 5:15 in the morning, and there's no one on the streets, and you've got the ocean smell in the air, which is my favorite.
The best. Dawn
smell.
at the ocean is great.
Just like you feel alive, Joe. Feel alive.
That's great. That's fantastic. We went to Niagara Falls for our break. My wife had never been. My kids have never been. I was when I was a kid, but I haven't been in 30 years. It was amazing. We never went to the Canada side, so this time we went to the Canada side.
That's the good side from what I hear.
That is the good side from what I hear, too.
Side.
I don't remember much of the American side, but the Canada side has tons of hotels and casinos and like carnivals. I mean, it was awesome. We had an absolute blast, and the weather was out of this world. It was also like driving north. It was like 75 degrees every day. It was gorgeous. And and there's just like a mist in the air from the falls that just kind of gets everywhere. And it's just so refreshing. It's like, it's amazing. So yeah, we had a blast, and it was nice to get away, but it's good to be back. Good to be catching up on, big news. We got a lot to talk about today with the upcoming content slate as we roll into San Diego Comic-Con and then Gen Con in Indy. We'll go back over the last couple episodes of the GCP. Little We Are Stupid, of course, because when you know who doesn't take a summer vacation? Professor Eric. He's always on top of it. And then we'll get a little listener mail, of course, as always. So let's kick it off with what I consider to be the big news, which is the announcement of the Gen Con YouTube premiere slate, which, we were talking a lot about the Gen Con shows. But what if you're not going to be at Indianapolis or in Indianapolis for Gen Con? We have got you covered. It's going to feel like you're there because we're going all day, air day, content. Tell them what to expect.
Yeah, with the reimagination of the booth this year, we still wanted to keep the party going for everybody that can't come to Gen Con. It's funny, we dropped all that stuff yesterday, and I'm getting McDee's telling me so many people are like, oh man, I'm going to miss out on all of that at Gen Con. I'm like, Do you read? Do you read and see that this is all happening on YouTube? Like, so we're recording it right now. We've already got several of these in the can. And basically, just like we did the past 2 years, from 10 a.m. all the way up until 6 p.m. and in some cases beyond, 10 to 4 on Sunday, there's going to be content premiering on YouTube that we're recording all this month. And the real thrust of it is to help us, pay for this booth. The booth is crazy expensive. We work with these publishers to help us get this booth up and running. And so we want to keep it popping for everybody who can't come. Although, come on, this is your last year to use an excuse. You can't come to Gen Con. It is going to be the best Gen Con ever. You should be there in person. And even if you are there, who's to say you can't throw on some headphones and listen to the tube?
Yeah, you might be waiting in some lines. You might be waiting for some games to start or a panel to start. Boom, throw on the tube. We got you we got you covered all day long.
It's going to be nonstop. I mean, there were like little breaks during when we did it live because we had to come on, shuffle peep, wet nap the microphones and stuff. Now it's just gonna be like bang, 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 bang. So the first day, Thursday, is Paizo Day. We're doing back-to-back 4-hour sessions. You just told me that yours went a little long because Joe is going to be running a Pathfinder game with Sydney, Paula Deming, Skid, and Eric Mona. 4-hour Pathfinder, John. And then right after that, I'm going to be running a Starfinder 2E playtest scenario with Matthew, Skid, Joe, and Kate Stammis. So that is a pretty full Thursday. And if you're there, what's wild is we're also going to be doing Get in the Trunk live on stage, which may or may not be streaming. And then that night we have Glass Cannon live, sold out. It's been sold out for months at Helium Comedy Club. That's just day one, not to mention gauntlets all day in the booth. A couple of those still left. Jared's gauntlets on Thursday, still available. But then
those
Friday.
Day one gauntlets, yeah, still available.
Yeah, still available. We're so close to selling out those gauntlets. Jared just has a couple because he's not as famous as us, I guess. And then on Friday,
because it's the worst possible time, like the first hours of the convention when
10:45
people are still traveling to Indianapolis. Yeah.
Friday, we've got, all right, so you got this week, we're premiering on Friday, part 1 of a 3-part Pendragon
so this
series.
is the other news. It all actually starts this Friday. It's starting this Friday, just in a couple days, Friday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time, YouTube premiere Pendragon character creation. So you're going to see the creation of some knights of the round table. They're not worthy to be at the round table, let me tell you. But we're going to create some knights in Arthurian role playing in Pendragon, and then that show will continue the following Friday night. And then that will be the finale of that will be airing during Gen Con on Gen Con Friday. So anyway, that's fun. We'll talk about that again in a second. Yeah,
so the finale is going to kick off day 3 of our streaming at 10 a.m. on Friday. And then after that, and this, mind you, the cast for that is going to be Brian Holland, everybody's favorite Chaosium GM, running Joe, Skid, Nora Ibrahim, and Paula Deming. And then after that is part 1 of 2 of a new game called Deathmatch Island. Have you heard about this? You know about this game, Joe?
You know about this?
This is from the beautiful minds at Evil Hat. And I think it's based around the Aegon system, which I bought a while ago, never got to play. But Jared got to play it, and I know he's our resident Evil Hat guy. Well, Jared is going to be running myself, Rob Kirkovich, Skid Marr, and Mary Lou through a 2-part Deathmatch Island. You know what it is, Joe? It's like, you know I'm a big brother guy, right? Jen, yes. The 2 Ends, friend of the show, our merch queen. She's a big brother fan. We talk about Big Brother all the time. It's kind of like Big Brother and Survivor, except it's also Squid Game. But I think you're killing each other.
Wow.
So I rolled up my character and you roll. Everything is, you determine what their profession was coming in, how many followers on social media they have.
Oh
all
my
this
God,
shit.
this is amazing.
So I rolled up my character yesterday. I'm like, oh my God, this is Big Brother, which starts tomorrow night, by the way, or tonight if you're watching this live. And so anyways, we're going to be running, it's going to be 2 parts. It might be 2 separate games. I don't know what Jared's going to do, but I rolled up my character yesterday, Deathmatch Island. And then after that, we're going to be playing a brand new RPG by Renegade Publishing called Welcome to Night Vale. This is an RPG that came out of a podcast.
Based on the podcast, yeah.
Based on the podcast. Did you know the podcast?
I did know the podcast.
See, yeah. I didn't know the podcast. I was like, what the hell is this? Well, we posted this yesterday. Everybody's like, oh my God, I can't wait to see this. It's Jared once again again running Clint, his old buddy Clint, Mary Lou, Paula Deming, and Matthew Capitacasa. And we have a character creation session where Jared and Matthew went one-on-one for 2 hours just to build a character in this world. We couldn't even do it with everybody because it would just have taken too much time. It's a character creation session that really digs into the very unique mechanics of this game. Well, the session itself is going to air on Friday at 2 p.m. And that rounds out day one. Nope.
Day two.
Day two, excuse me. I'm doing this all on Instagram. We finish off day two with a Marvel Multiverse role-playing game character creation session using the new X-Men expansion that we already have that is going to drop at Gen Con. We recorded this the other day. I could have done that for 4 hours. And that is me hosting. I'm just really hosting, walking people through the nuts and bolts. Joe Skid, Rob Kirkovich, Matthew Capitacasa, and Sydney Emanuel as they create their own unique X-Men squad of mutants.
So awesome.
I'm already running out of saliva here, so I'll go quick. Saturday kicks off with Joe.
Saturday is Free League Day.
Saturday is Free League Day. That's right.
All Free League, baby.
All Free League, all day. You're going to be running Alien. I think you're recording that later today.
Yeah.
Alien, Unique Adventure with Kate Stammis, Josephine McAdam, Mary Lou, and Matthew Capitacasa. Even though Josephine's moved across the pond, we brought her back for this. And then after that, I mean, a couple people might be excited for the return of the One Ring. This is going to be featuring elements of the new Moria book that they're dropping, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Jared is going to be running Skid and Jason Charles Miller. Obviously, they were the first 2 phone calls I made. It's like, I put them on a group text. I'm like, hey guys, we're going to do a 2-hour One Ring session that's pre-recorded for Gen Con. Would you? And they already started saying yes before I finished the text.
It's a 4-hour session.
Skid
by the way.
That's a 4-hour, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
Skid and
beast.
Jason Charles Miller, Alicia Marie, and Harley Kane. Can't wait to see, if nothing else, the cosplay for that one. And then we finish day 3 with another Free League title that you'll be running once again, Dragonbane.
Back again 1 year later. There is a whole new high-level adventure that they've put out. A massive campaign, which is just so awesome. It's called Path to Glory. And it's going to be, we're just going to kick off the start of it, and it'll be, kind of like what we did last year with Sky King's Tomb, just a little taster. We're not going to spoil anything about the grand scope of the campaign, but we'll give you a little sense of what it's like to play this game. Free League's very excited about it, and we are too, yeah.
Jason Charles Miller, Matthew Capitacasa, Mary Lou, and Josephine McAdam.
It's so cool seeing all these mixing and matching of all these casts. Is really fun.
That is a real fun one. And then, are we still on day 3?
I should say that Jason Charles Miller will be reprising his role as Sir Quackenspire. So definitely tune into that Dragonbane game. One of the greatest characters to ever grace the network, or at least the greatest voice, Sir Quackenspire by Jason Charles Miller.
My God, I'm looking now. We are completely jammed packed. We have 30 minutes that hasn't been accounted for in terms of like the showroom floor will coincide with all of these streams. We're kicking off Sunday with 3 back-to-back interviews that you've been recording. One with CJ Cervantes and Matt Forbeck from Marvel to talk about all the exciting things that they have going on. And it sounds like a ton.
Yeah, not only the X-Men expansion, which is dropping at Gen Con, but big news about the next expansion that's coming in 2025. So it's an awesome interview.
I'm not allowed to talk about it. And then you have an interview with Brian Holland, our good friend Brian Holland from Chaosium, to talk about everything that they've got going on. And then you sit down with Carlos Cabrera, a new friend of ours from Renegade. And what do you did you guys record that yet?
Carlos Cabrera is a game designer. He's not from Renegade, but Renegade hired him to design the Welcome to Night Vale game. He's both an experienced game designer and a massive Welcome to Night Vale fan. And so it was a really good sort of confluence there, come together to make, I think fans of Night Vale are going to love this game. It has been every step of the way designed by a super fan. It has been overseen by the Welcome to Night Vale team themselves. And it's checking all the boxes for if you want to do an existing IP right, you bring in the people that know that IP really well and are passionate about it. So that would be Carlos Cabrera. So yeah, check out that interview for more about what went into designing and making a game out of what is a huge podcast, Welcome to Night Vale.
That's very exciting. It's good. It's good to have the interview element back with these premieres, and then we're going to have part 2, the finale, or perhaps a new Deathmatch Island scenario with the same cast as before, and then we finish off the day with a really interesting 5e supplement from Cubicle 7 called A Life Well Lived, and it's going to be Jared running Rob Kirkovich, Matthew Capitacasa, Ross Bryant, and Sydney Emanuel through character creation for this supplement. When we started working with Cubicle 7, they were like, hey, we'd love you to do this. And I sent it to Jared. I'm like, hey, Jared, would you like to run this? He goes, yeah, but I feel like we should do character creation because this book is basically, includes this system called the Life Path system.
Yeah.
Where basically you're building your life outside of when you're fighting goblins and orcs. It's like, what is your downtime life like? And so we're going to spend a couple hours just kind of digging into that system. And so I was like, I want to get writers like Rob and Matthew on there because I think they would have a field day with this. And then of course, throw Ross and Sydney in as well. And I think it's going to be a really rich, fun stream to kind of round out the best 4 days in gaming.
Yeah, so it's going to be incredible whether you're there or not. And that's the best part is if you can't make it to Indy, you're going to have this fresh new content coming all weekend long. New games, new characters, new stories. It just, it's the spirit of Gen Con. It's just like pack as much into 4 days of gaming as you can.
And if you're like, fuck YouTube, I don't want to watch that shit, it will all be available at the premium tier on our subscription service. So if you subscribe to the premium tier, you'll get the audio for every single one of those. And I haven't figured out how those are going to drop just yet. Probably maybe the week afterwards of Gen Con. But try and catch those YouTube premieres. Help us pump those numbs.
Pump those numbs. All right. In other news, we are going to San Diego Comic-Con next week? No.
Yep.
No.
Yes.
Shut your mouth.
Yes.
Oh, it is.
Shut your mouth.
It is. We're flying out next week. So a week from this Friday. Pardon me. A week from this Friday.
You're throwing up just thinking about it.
That's what happened. My body rejected it.
I can't. I'm ready.
A week from this Friday, the Good Enough's return, where you actually get to play Marvel, not just create characters, but play the game. We're going to play a sesh. This is going to be Deadpool themed, right? Like a Deadpool themed, John. Oh, man. So excited.
Deadpool role plays the Marvel multiverse. And it's pretty wild. It's part of a longer adventure. And so I'm running the first part, but it's going to be modified. And they're giveaways. So if you're coming, I think you're going to get a copy of this adventure with a very fun variant cover featuring all of us dressed as Deadpool. So please come out to that. And then if you're coming to San Diego Comic-Con, I'm going to be doing a panel at 11:15 on Saturday morning that talks about the difference between a home game and an actual play, kind of the business of actual play. And then later that day, I want to say at 5:30, I'm going to be on Faster Purple Worm Kill with a friend of the show, you might know, Sydney Emanuel.
Nice.
So check that out. Come see us. It's going to be fun. Hopefully we'll have more Naish people there. Last year was weird with the strike, and we found out and started announcing it like a week before we went out there. But please, if you're coming or if you're in the area, break in and come see us. It's going to be a good time. We love playing Marvel.
And then like we said, we're headed to Gen Con, but I just want to throw this out there real quick. If you are going to Gen Con, we are still looking for some volunteers, merch volunteers for the shows. So if you want to help out with that, you can if you couldn't get into a show, maybe that's a way to get in. So hit us up at contact@glasscannonnetwork.com if you want to try to be a merch volunteer. This would be at Helium Comedy Club for Glass Cannon Live, or at the Athenaeum for the Call of Cthulhu live show. Either of those, we need merch volunteers. And also, I think so. McDermott just told me before we started recording this that we could also use some help at the booth. Now, that is not volunteer. That would be a paid gig hourly. So if there's a chance you want to work our booth for a couple hours at Gen Con, we still could use some help there, and that's a paid gig. So hit us up with that as well if you're interested in working the merch booth for a little bit during Gen Con. And then lastly, tune into our streams. It's just on Twitch. It's all Elden Ring now. It's just all Elden Ring at the moment. Troy and I are diving in deep. You started a new run. You're doing a new run. I played once last week. You called me crazy for doing it.
Well, I looked into it and I was just like, if I'm going to do this, I just want to start from scratch. So I'm doing an all faith build.
Okay.
Like a faith tank kind of. But I played once last week. I see you're putting in 2 streams a week. I'm like, I'm never going to catch up because the only game I'm playing on the side now is Starfield. I got back into Starfield and I'm loving it. I'm just mainlining the missions so I can beat it.
I'm excited to get back into that one.
Oh, dude, it's fucking fantastic. I forgot how wonderful it is. I know people had some problems with it, but I'm having a blast.
But it's only going to get better with age. Like it's going to keep improving and improving. But anyway, yeah. So you're doing a new run to Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm in it now. I'm in the DLC, and it's everything that everyone has been saying.
You're in it already? Did you put 100 hours in before you went in?
No, it took me 20 hours. So
you're going in. What level are you?
I went in at level 100.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough time.
I got my ass handed to me and have continued to do so. So yeah, the streams this week, tune in. I'm streaming at 1:00 today on our channel and at 2:00 tomorrow. It's just trying to work through Shadow of the Erdtree. I got to the first boss. I mean, I just laughed out loud. Like I did it 3 times and was like, there's not even a chance. Like not even the slightest chance.
You're going to have to leave the DLC, go like grind a little bit and then come back in.
No, it doesn't work that way, which is very interesting. Now you can to increase your life bar. But I know
it has a new level system.
Yeah,
so once you go in, you're locked into that.
So the only way to get ready for that boss is you have to grind the power levels within the DLC.
Interesting.
And so but that was a good thing because I had kind of, I guess it's just all these years of playing these games. My instincts took me like right to the boss. Like I kind of knew the path to go right to the boss, and I got there and I got trounced, and people in chat were just like, the game is meant for you to explore the world more before you get there because there's like power-ups all over.
Yeah.
And so I went and started exploring and I found a lot more cool stuff, couple like mini bosses, got some power-ups. I still haven't tried it again. I'm going to try it again this week. So we'll see if I'm any closer. But
wow, that's wild. So you just said, I'm just going to go do what I need to do to unlock the DLC. And
yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I think I'm going to meander my way through because now that I've platinum, I don't really care about getting everything. I know there are certain quests that you have to do to line stuff up, but I'm like, I think it's going to take another 100 hours before I get into the DLC.
It would if you were meandering. Yeah. But I just ran.
Did you go right to Godric?
I ran to every boss. I just ran past the enemies, didn't fight anybody, literally. Like,
wow, that is insanity. That's a cool way to play. I mean, you've also played through it multiple times because you're not a psychopath.
I've already done 2 full playthroughs before. And so it's not that I have this all memorized. I was still like reading online and trying to remember the paths. And these aren't like cheats. These aren't skips. These aren't like speed run glitches that you expose. I'm literally just running past enemies. If there's an enemy I can't run past, I kill them. Now, very early on, you have to fight. Like you have to go into these side dungeons and fight bosses just to get some levels before you go to Godric and Margit, like Margit and Godric. But once you're like level 20 or something like that, like there's no reason you can't run past and do that fight. Like you can get it done. So I actually got to Moog, who's the guy you have to beat, by racing through the quest that gets you there and skips you ahead. And I fought him at like level 25 or 30.
Holy shit.
It was unbelievable. Like he totally one-shot me. When I was hitting him,
that doesn't sound fun.
I was doing like less than 1% of his health on each hit. And so I was just like, all right, I simply can't do this. So then it was a combination of running to bosses and actually just looking online for where the upgrade materials are. That's all I did. I just ran to get the smithing stones for the weapons, picked my weapon, and just ran to level that up. That's all I did. And when it was strong enough, I'd just go fight bosses. And honestly, it was a blast. It was one of the most fun runs I've had.
That's cool.
Because I don't know. It's just fun to run to bosses. It was really, really fun. And then also to be so powerful later on that like when you level up your weapon past where it's expected and then go back to a boss you skipped before and just like trounce them in 3 hits. Dude, I beat the Godskin duo first try with like no effort whatsoever because my weapon was leveled up as it could be, and I just like smash. It was awesome. Anyway. Fun
That's
stuff.
Cool, dude. Now you got me fired up because like
we're
recording this on Tuesday, and I'm about to stream it, and so now I'm like, well, fuck, maybe I'm going after Godric today.
Yeah, dude, just do it. It could be a little bit hard, but like it's worth it. It's not worth grinding out the souls from beating minions in the levels. It's just not, or runes rather. it doesn't really help you level. Like boss souls is what you need to level,
Sure.
and then the upgrade materials really advance you quickly, because that's what really makes your weapon go up in power, not the scaling of the stat. It's all about the upgrade materials.
Yeah,
So-
that's interesting.
yeah.
Well, now I'm really excited.
Yeah,
'cause
it's just amazing. The wiki will just, you go to the wiki, be like Smithing Stone 2, and it'll tell you where every single one of them is.
Oh,
And
yeah.
You just got to get 12 of them, and then you're done. Now you're on to Smithing Stone 3. I had a blast. Oh, sorry.
Oh shit! All right, well that's all the time we have.
That's
for
all the time we
today,
have. A big
but
old
good
Elden
chat.
Ring tangent.
Check out Glass Cannon.
Check out Glass Cannon. I actually don't think we have to dive too deep into these episodes. We went on vacation just after 41 aired, and then 42 aired this past week. Really fun stuff as we delve underground, our first steps into the memory cache. To me, the highlight is the trap. Of the 2 episodes, the trap is just really, really incredible. And talk to me about that a little bit. I kind of want to know how much of that is detailed in the adventure, how much of that is you adding things to it, if anything at all. It was just a very interesting trap in that it triggered feelings of failure and your memories of shame in your life. What a cool thing to find in a place dedicated to memory. Tell me about this trap and what, give me some stats.
Yeah, it's called Scholar's Bane. It's a hazard 4. And it's a complex hazard. And so these ones I prefer unless I'm in a hurry, because usually something will happen right when the trigger happens. Then you roll for initiative. And then there's a routine that takes place. And this one was fun because usually, and this I've seen this happen now a lot, both in like our conversion for Strange Aeons and then playing Gatewalkers, is like, I like these things where a routine will start off with like a lot of shit that goes down, but as you slowly disable it, it's less effective. And so I think this thing, we just look. Yeah, the trap lose 1 action for each eye sensor that was disabled or destroyed. So it starts out with 4 actions. So it can just keep attacking. But then it's 3 actions. Then it's 2 actions. Then it's 1 action. Yeah, I mean, it's just really interesting. In the book, I think there's probably a lot of people, like everyone, I've said this before, is like would just play it straight. But I thought this was a great chance for you guys to kind of on the spot think about some backstory.
So it's not
stuff.
saying in the adventure like ask each PC their most shameful memory. Like,
No.
yeah, it's in. So that just added a great layer to it, and that's just an example of how you like just a little tweak to these games to delve into the characters a little bit better are gonna
Any
really
chance you have, especially in an encounter, to like dig into someone's backstory, you got to take it, because when you're doing a podcast, at least, because otherwise it's just like grind.
Totally. That's great. And those scenes came up. You got to know a little bit about everybody, a little bit more about everybody, especially the darker memories. And to me, it cracked me up. I said it in the show. It's like the standout was Sydney. Like hers was the darkest by far. It's just so funny because like, I thought she did a fantastic job, and I'm going to throw Matthew under the bus here because it was like, give me your memory of shame. And Matthew's memory is like a memory of shame that just like, it's something that's just not his fault and is like only going to make him look more heroic, right? So it's like
He struggles with these. Remember before he did something, Skip was like, oh, how horrifying for you. It's like, what is your darkest memory? And it was like the most benign sort of thing. I don't know why. I guess he needs time to like write it and rewrite it.
It only made you feel bad for him and make him seem like more heroic, which is fine. But Sydney was bold because she made her character look like a piece of shit. And I like that scene. As we came out of it, I was just like, I think we should kick you out of the party. Like you are bad business. The scene where she deliberately destroys the wedding dress of this woman that she like, it's just so cold and nasty and mean. And what a great scene. I thought it seems simple. It seems almost like it's funny, but really I think what it is, it's a true scene of shame, like doing something shameful. And so, yeah, I think Sydney crushed that. It was
we've
awesome.
kind of seen this from Asta, right? Like there's this little undercurrent of like something dark is here. And at first you just kind of brush it off. It's like, oh, she's the weird forest person. But now you're like, oh no, she might be evil.
Yeah, she might be evil. And I think what I'm predicting or guessing or guess predicting isn't the right word, but what I suspect here is that Sydney is doing a spectacular job of playing the sort of features of a fox, of being fox-like, because there's something very cute about foxes. There's something very innocent looking about foxes, but they also, like as creatures, are pretty nasty and are. You'd be surprised at I think at how I don't know the word I'm looking for here. Not violent as much as they're nasty creatures, and so despite being a lot cuter than other animals that might do the same kind of things that they do. So I feel like Sydney's kind of crushing it right now with it. So I really appreciated that. But yeah, that was the highlight for me. Obviously, the Skelly encounter was really fun. And man, oh man, did your old buddy Joe O'Brien get away with a fast one. Big cheat from old Joe O'Brien here. We're going to find out. Yeah, we're going to find out in We Are Stupid from our good buddy, Professor Eric. Sing us in, Nick. Let's find out how stupid we were. We are stupid. 2 full episodes. Not a whole lot to dig into here, honestly. I think we're getting really good at this. And the only person that just blatantly cheated, if memory serves, is me multiple times. So let's start with episode 41, where Professor Eric just weighs in and says, he is not aware of an exploration activity that would give a free recall knowledge at the start of combat during initiative. He says this might be a little bit too strong compared to the scout ability, which gives a +1 to the party's initiative, or search, which gives the blind GM checks before wandering into hazards or traps. That seems to be the most powerful initiative powers that are out there in exploration. There's nothing that just lets you recall knowledge for free. Probably by design. And then real quick, I apparently, and I don't remember this exactly, but when Brother Ramius, I was flanking a creature, and because I have my fists, I can be flanking. I could provide flanking to, say, Barnes, right, if he was on the other side of me. But I casted a Divine Lance while in flanking with this creature. It did not provoke an attack of opportunity, and so we had it attack against the creature's off-guard AC. But that is incorrect. Right from the wording of flanking, quote, a creature is off-guard to melee attacks from creatures that are flanking it when it's flanked. So even if you're right up next to it, if you do a ranged attack, it does not you do not benefit from its off-guard AC. So just something to keep in mind. I just missed it. And then on to episode 42. He goes in and talks a little bit about the complex hazard. So you and I had a little banter back and forth about the detecting magic, and I'm still a little bit baffled by this. And I don't think he really answered my question, but his response is that the way to overcome these complex hazards or define them is really you need to have a rogue or an investigator, because they have a class feat called Trap Finder, which gives them a +1 bonus to perception checks and also gives them a free check to check for traps if they are, in the area, like a GM check for traps if they are in the area. If they have that Trap Finder and they combine it with detecting magic as an exploration activity, they would automatically get a roll to detect it from the GM. So this is the kind of specific area you have to be in. My big thing about it that I still don't think that this is clear. It's clear. The rule is clear. But what I just don't understand is if you're a really powerful caster, if I'm a 15th level wizard and I'm detecting magic, I can't detect a magical trap that's level 3. You know what I mean? It just doesn't really make much sense to me. I'm curious what the design of that is. If the magic is to hide it and detect magic just reveals it, that also seems kind of stupid. So I guess that is the whole reason, but that's the only logical thing I can come to is when the magic is designed to hide itself, how do you find it, even if you're a powerful wizard? I guess that's the question. 2 more things real fast. He pointed out that Barnes, he believes, did a 4-action round. We missed this. Exploit vulnerability, mirror, strike, and then move. In the round after the first skeleton was defeated. So seems like Matthew got away with one there. I'm not sure how we missed it, but 4 actions in a round. And then here's the big one. Dummy. The final blow against the final skeleton, the Cliffy, at the end of the episode, I fired off a 2-action heal to explode one of these skeletons apart. Brother Ramius's first offensive use of the heal spell. I was so pumped, but I didn't read the spell. Of course I didn't read the spell. Quote, the spell has a range of 30 feet. It's not even the last line. If you're healing a living creature, increase the hit points restored by 8. You do not get the flat plus 16 on the 2-action version if you are attacking with it. So the 2-action version is a blast that attacks for 2d8 at this level. That's it. Right. No bonus damage. Because I did 25 points of damage. And we were like, whoa! And then I looked at the dice, and I looked back, and I was like, that seems amazing. Wow, yeah, it is plus 16 at this level. It's plus 16. So yeah, that is 25 points of damage, whatever it was. And that ended the encounter. But it really just should have been 9. Should have been 9, not 25. Huge difference. So yeah,
So you just added the bonus that is only meant for healing.
I thought that it worked exactly the same whether you were healing or harming undead. I didn't realize that you only get that bonus in the 2-action version if you are healing. So good, noted, got it. We'll never make that mistake again. But that was it. Pretty light, honestly, for We Are Stupid, and I think I'm proud of us for a couple combats there too.
While you were going, I was just looking more into the hazard thing because I know it's still bugging you, and it's like you detect it, you detect its presence with detect magic, but it doesn't. It can be found, but the spell doesn't provide a way to understand how to. It reveals the hazard's presence. So you should know if you hold detect magic for long enough that there is a hazard there. You just don't know anything about it,
right? So so we did it wrong. You should have said all you should have really said is there is magic. You don't even need to say it's a hazard. You just say like, there is magic in this next area. There's the presence of magic, because that's all detect magic really does. But that would have put us on guard a little bit. It would not have changed any of the start of the hazard, but it definitely would have had us a little bit more on guard. And I'm not sure how that would have changed things. Probably not much.
Yeah.
But as long that makes more sense to me that it can be detected. Detect magic is not like it doesn't give you the answer to everything.
Right.
But to have no idea that there's no presence of magic seemed odd to me. So yeah, that makes sense. Professor Eric, you want to clarify that if our interpretation here at the end makes sense? Yes, we would detect the presence of magic, but no, we would not get any details about the hazard. I'm fine with that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into a little listener mail here before we bounce.
All right, I'll do it.
I'll answer one.
I'll do one.
It's time to listen to mail. Gotta get your brain up on it. Time to listen to mail. You gotta cue that fucking.
Quick one from Ryan L. in Brisbane. I would assume that's International Edition, right?
Is it Brisbane?
Brisbane? Ryan L. from Brisbane asks, will the acquisition of Demiplane by Roll20 change anything for the GCN? And yeah, great question. It will. It's kind of became a conflict of interest once that acquisition occurred. Roll20, being another virtual tabletop in the market, created a conflict with another sponsor that we had, Foundry VTT. And so as a result, Demiplane had to move on, and they are fine with that, and we are fine with that, and it was all good. We loved working with them for the time that we could, and it was very exciting for them. I feel that acquisition, whatever that merger with Roll20 was very exciting for them, and awesome stuff is ahead for them. But yeah, it created a conflict of interest we couldn't continue with. So that's it. After this last episode that you heard, we're not going to be Demiplane's not going to be an official sponsor anymore. But yeah, still friendly, and we've still had a few conversations on other games and stuff like that they cover character creation for and stuff. So yeah, everything's all good, but you're just not going to hear them as a sponsor of the show anymore.
Yeah, in terms of what people are going to use for character sheets, now people can use whatever the hell they want. We might move everything to Foundry, but I'm not forcing that on people right now because there's a small bit of a small learning curve. Whereas
there's a small learning curve
used to Hero Lab and shit.
Yeah, and it's also just a bad time right now. It just happens to be a bad time as we're running up to Gen Con. There's a lot of other stuff going on, but maybe as that calms down, people can start to port their sheets into Foundry if they'd like. That's what I'd prefer to do if I can find the time to sit down and get it done. But yeah, that's really going to change. So the only things that are changing is a sponsor spot opening up, but then also
less money.
But then also perhaps a move to Foundry sheets, which I think a lot of people would love to see. So we'll see if that comes to fruition.
Yep.
All right, one more question before we get out of here from Oliver in the UK. So another international one. Hey guys, I'm a huge fan of the show and Gatewalkers. And Gatewalkers is truly the highlight of my week. Thanks a lot.
Hey.
I have a dual loaded question for the pod this week. What has been your favorite city to tour in, and what has been your favorite venue to play in? All the best and keep up the great work. Oliver from the UK. This is, I think you might have some new ones at the top of your list after this year.
Yeah, I'm
'Cause you have
looking.
been-
I have to go back and look at like the cities we went to because I remember. I'd say the most fun I've had, because sometimes there's just too much work and there's not time to have fun. But that kind of colors the experience, right? Like it may not be the best city. It's just like the stars aligned. It was Austin this year. It was great. You know,
Yeah.
our buddy George came. We got to hang out with him the day before, and then after the show, we
awesome.
went and hung out. And you know,
Austin was fun, man. It was
Austin was
town.
fun, and I've never had fun there before. So I was like, all right, I get it. I finally get Austin. Obviously, Nashville's great, but we had so much extra work this time around. In terms of favorite venue of all time, not the Doug Fir Lounge. That was the worst one.
I can easily tell you the worst one.
That was the worst one. And the
More
city's
than half of
already
the audience. is
city's already a
standing.
disaster, and now we got to go to a bad venue. But in terms of best venue, I don't know. You got one that pops off the top of your head?
Yeah. So for city, I'm going to go San Francisco. I love
Oh,
going
you like
to San
the
Francisco.
Independent?
Yeah, no. I'm just going to say for city.
Oh, city. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Going to a city. I love going to San Francisco. I don't have any friends or family that live there currently, at least that I'm aware of. And so I never really get a chance to go there except on tour. And it's just a beautiful city, and I love being there. And I love the weather. It's like my favorite weather of all the cities. And so, yeah, I would say San Francisco is my favorite place to get to go visit on tour. And as far as venue goes, man, there's a lot of close ones. I would give my honorable mention to Columbus. I can't remember the name of that theater. I love that place.
Newport Music Hall.
Yeah, Newport Music Hall. It's got a lot of history. It's an old theater. Love that place. But I'll say I think the favorite thing I always think of going into a venue that I just love. I love the way that it feels. I love the way that it looks, and I love everybody that's there when we get to go there. Terragram Ballroom in LA. It's like my favorite venue. Yeah, because it's just so. Like, I love that stage. I think that stage is one of the coolest looking stages we play.
Oh,
I'm
thinking now. Okay, yeah.
It has the big light around the outside. It just looks like you're putting on a great show. And then it's got a nice big green room area, and all of our friends in LA are always there. So I have great memories of like everybody coming back, partying in the green room, all the casts from all the different shows. And so, yeah, it's a special place for me is Terragram for sure.
I'd probably lean Paradise just because it's basically our home.
I love a Paradise
home
too.
club now. You know that show's almost sold out. In Boston, September. There's
Get
like
outta here.
30
Amazing.
tickets left. I was looking at the ticket counts today. I lean Paradise, but to be less of a homer, if I had to pick another one, I really liked. It wasn't a sold out show or anything, but the Gray Eagle in Asheville was pretty great.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, so
That's
many
a great
great
venue.
venues.
Yeah. I'll also give an honorable mention to Amsterdam Bar and Hall. I love that.
yeah.
Like it's just a bar, but it's big and has, great seating. And everybody's but you're still raised up on stage so you can see everybody
Yeah.
really well. And it's all brick. It just feels like a pub. It's great. Not the best green room, but one of the best stages and bar scenes for a show. I love the Amsterdam Bar and Hall in St. Paul. All right, buddy. That's going to do it.
There she is, Joe.
There she is. We're back. We got another one
man.
back in the can. We did it. We did it.
But
from
let's
now
take
on,
another 2 weeks off.
Let's take another 2 weeks off. Now, from now on, we got a FOD for you every week as we lead up to San Diego Comic-Con, as we lead up to Gen Con, as we lead into August, which is going to have bigger news than even Gen Con
baby.
for the new stuff that's coming down the pike. Wait till you guys see. It's gonna blow your mind. So we're looking forward to all these FODs coming up through the remainder of the summer. Have a good one, everybody. Take it easy, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.